show. Boom, boom, boom. Link between worlds review. Sean, go.
Alright, so obviously I'm the best choice for this.
Start it off.
Yeah, I'm the best choice to start this off. I know I've played Zelda quite a bit so much into this. Like, I'm actually pretty close to being finished. So I felt like it was interesting to me that they changed up the entire format of the game with the, I mean, not necessarily the format, but the fact that you get the items from a store and you rent them, and you have this bar. I guess I'm kind of glossing over a lot of the main points here.
I think if we go point by point.
Yeah.
Probably the three biggest things in the game are, or what makes it different. I guess there's four technically. There's four gimmicks. There's always a gimmick in Zelda.
Yeah.
There is the painting mechanic where you can pop onto the wall and kind of move and stuff like that. You basically get all the items at the the beginning, at
the start,
or not all of them.
I mean,
necessarily.
Like you do the first dungeon without you only get one item.
But after that, you basically are able to rent all of the items at once.
Right.
And then there is also that you can basically sequence break, if you will. You can do the dungeons in any order.
Yeah.
And then there is instead of having arrows or bombs or whatever, everything's basically
a stamina bar.
It's like a magic bar, kind of, or whatever, and every time you do something it goes down, but then it refills, so you don't have to keep track of your arrows or your bombs or any of that crap.
Yeah.
So if we go down, because really it's a Zelda game, you know what it's like, really you're talking about the gimmicks and stuff, in terms of whether they work or not, is really what you're talking about.
Well, the thing is, and while they sort of hit on this, and I'd like to point out that I sort of I thought it was going to be like this brand new story, like brand new area, brand new stuff, and I popped it open and it looked a lot like Link to the Past.
I think, because, a lot of people came into it knowing that it wasn't going to be new. We're still expecting a new story, and the story's not all that new.
I
guess it's another thing we can...
It is new. It's not interesting,
right.
But it isn't. It is new. It's not the same plot as A Link to the Past. For a while I thought this was just a remake. Just because of how similar the overworld looks, and it is the exact same overworld.
And you have the Dark World.
Which is part kind of nostalgia appeal, part laziness. Because I feel like there's nothing in it that directly ties it to Link to the Past to kind of justify going back to this overworld, this particular overworld. There's no
reason to need to have this in the...
This isn't a direct sequel. There's nothing revealed about Link to the Past. To me, it's just a straight nostalgia appeal. There's a lot of people that really like that game. That's a lot of people's favorite Zelda. So to me, that's okay.
You have a whole bunch of Easter eggs in that, and I could kind of call the overworld almost a little more than an Easter egg, or it's a nice throw-in.
They definitely were trying to do the whole nostalgia throw in, because Majora's Mask is right there at the very beginning in your house. The milk bar, again, a Majora's Mask reference.
Dampy and stuff like that.
Dampy's there. To me, what's interesting is that now usually something like this would really bother me,
right?
Because it'd be like, I've done this shit before.
Okay.
And I know that they're just, they're trying to cloud my judgment. But it was interesting in that this feels like an interesting Zelda, because this is the first Zelda in a long time that has not had a gimmicky control scheme, or felt like kind of a tech demo. This is like a Zelda.
There's no waggle or moving around.
The last one would be the GameCube version, Twilight Princess.
Twilight.
That's true. And even the Wii version, it was more like a button. It wasn't focused around the control scheme. It doesn't feel like a tech demo.
Yeah.
So to me, going back and basically doing the Link to the Past map is interesting in that it's sort of... This is an interesting game because it's like a back to basics. for the game.
Which I feel is nice
for the series.
Because as we have all talked about, Nintendo's doing this weird thing with all their older series where they're trying to throw in all this new stuff to appeal to a lot of different crowds. But I think with this game, with as far as I played into it, because I really like where this is going. I mean, you, I believe, was touched with me on the fact that you said there's no difficulty curve because all the dungeons...
Right, and we'll discuss that here, because we do have to get back to the gimmicks, I guess, because...
The first thing I'd like to talk about would be, like, the fact that the dungeons are all...
right, and...
It's all... The difficulty,
It's an appealing design choice, I guess, in that it allows freedom and whatever.
Being able to rent the items anytime you want.
But it's sort of, I feel like it's sort of a design trap because, again, there's no difficulty curve because every dungeon needs to be designed as if it was the first possible dungeon.
Right.
True.
So
because all your
you don't have to do that, but that's usually what they do.
Well, because all your items are given right to you, so there's no real reason why they should make it any sort of different.
And they did kind of try to change it up a bit because you get some of the important quest stuff like the power bracelet and other things like that. Not in dungeons.
Yeah, they don't give everything to you.
No,
not necessarily because you can't pick up rocks and stuff at the beginning. Most of the usable items, though, they give to you.
Yeah.
They don't give you the dash boots or any of this stuff. So, but I think that's a problem. I think that because of this sort of more freeform design of this, there's no real difficulty curve. I've just finished the last dungeon, so I've played all 6 of the Dark World dungeons.
Yeah.
They were all relatively the same difficulty.
There's no real progression.
There's no real progression. There was no dungeon where I went, oh, there's a cool concept of this dungeon. They're all kind of short-ish.
They also kind of reuse some assets, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Same bosses.
There's a lot of the similar bosses and stuff like that. I just finished Skull Woods, and it is actually a different boss for that one as I was kind of going through, but...
I mean, even some of the dungeon designs were just...
reminiscent.
Harkening back.
Yeah.
Not exactly the same, thankfully.
So to me, once again, the nostalgia stuff is a little bit less lazy and more of like a statement, I guess, in that because this game to me is almost like a Zelda deconstruction, in that we're kind of pulling off all of the dumb shit that we've been putting on these games.
The waggle, the touch.
Right.
Because you do need to kind of get back to basics and reform your series if you want it to keep living and progressing over time.
Well, I'd like to see more of this. I think with this Zelda, I feel like they're heading in the correct direction. Not saying full steam ahead, because obviously... the difficulty curve is one thing. Giving items is an interesting choice to me.
Yeah,
but
it's not something that I don't think it's something that works for every Zelda.
No,
but it's cool for this one. I don't think you need to do that all the time.
No,
it's cool to just go into the overworld and just be able to do whatever.
But I'd like to see more of what is happening with it. There's
good decisions they've made. Like the energy bar that was really
great.
Well handled. Everybody I've talked to seems to enjoy it.
Energy bar is good. It's nice,
not
streamlined.
having to go through getting arrows and bombs and making sure you pick those up.
Right, and then there's no real worry for you ever having to run out. I like the fact that it's just really play the damn game. It's not like shake the again with all the game.
Right. No blowing in the microphone.
There's no blowing in the microphone. There's no touching. There's no waggle of shit.
Yeah.
There's no there's no real story to it either. To me, it's just the basic kind of like, here's the structure, and it's not an exciting game.
Right.
But it is, I think, an important game for them to have made right now.
Yes.
Right.
Like you said, I think it's a statement.
It's a statement for them going forward, I think, in that sort of like... to me, it almost feels like a Zelda reboot, in a way.
And I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they had to breathe some more life into it. I mean, this isn't one of their worst series for doing that. I mean, there's a few others, Mario, for one, that it needs much worse.
Yes.
A reboot, but...
yeah, definitely.
I feel like the music kind of represents that, and that there wasn't too many new tracks, but it was all...
It's interesting in that, I'll get off on Mario here for a second. Mario has gone back to basics, and he needs things added,
right.
Whereas Zelda was adding all this crap on.
And they need to pull it off.
So this is sort of like, it's like new Super Mario Brothers. With this, it feels like it's kind of like a classic Zelda, kind of a throwback.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's more, to me, the prospect of seeing this game, it's more exciting what the future holds for the series in terms of, particularly with Zelda Wii U.
Yeah.
It is pretty exciting in terms of, maybe we're not going to get a bunch of dumb motion shit in this.
Yeah, hopefully they'll
go back to doing this for like their 3D games on the Wii U and stuff, and they won't add in so much waggle and stuff. It'll just be go and play.
It'll be a good game.
Yes.
It'll be a game that stands on its own, not doesn't have to have these gimmicks or whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess final verdict, final thoughts. What do we feel?
I feel like the game is pretty good. The decisions they made were very interesting. I like what they're going with it, and I think they should try and keep this up, and I'd like to see some more.
It is a very solid Zelda game. It's probably somewhere in the middle of the pack. But since most of us haven't played a Zelda game like this in a while,
it was nice.
I would go pick. It was nice.
It was fresh. That's a good way.
It's sad. This is probably the best Zelda game made in 5 years.
5 years.
Which is sad because this is quite middling.
I mean, it's interesting. I'm not sure whether I'd put it above or below Skyward Sword. That's a good way to put it.
Right.
But I felt I still got a lot to play into it, but I felt really good about it. And I feel like this is something a lot of people can enjoy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
good job, Nintendo.
way to go.